Hello, and thank you for joining us for another podcast at the Gospel Rescue Mission. Today, I have in my office with me Miss Amy Lovejoy. She is the Women's Coordinator for the Fixo Family Center, has been working with us for the last 2 years, and she is preparing to leave us to move to the East Coast, and we are going to miss her terribly. And we thought, man, we got to get one more moment. Let's sit down and have a conversation together. And we just thought maybe you'd like to sit in and join us for that conversation. So I hope you enjoy it. Here she is, Miss Amy Lovejoy. Well, okay, so then I'm sitting here in my office with Amy Lovejoy, our women's coordinator. Say hi, Amy.
Hi.
And we are just kind of doing a little reminiscing because we're at the end of her time here with us at the Gospel Rescue Mission, and this is very bittersweet for us. Obviously, moving on to some bigger, better things, and some life changes and all this. But and then of course, you know, we're gonna miss you and think, oh man, we're losing not just a somebody that we work with, but we're just losing a dear friend to the other coast. And so Amy, kind of give us a kind of a how long have you been with the mission now?
2 years.
Which seems like forever. Yeah, seems like you've been here since the beginning of time with the mission.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed the time here.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed working here.
You, unlike me, you have not gained a single gray hair. I, on the other hand, I don't have any other colored hair left, it seems like. So that's fantastic.
Do you blame that on the mission?
Yeah. Between the mission and my wife. And, you know, my wife will listen to this podcast and she'll die laughing. So you know, I was just thinking about the time here. You've been working with the Women and Children's Center and kind of been pioneering for us more of the idea of a children's coordinator. What's that going to look like? Mm-hmm. Then you moved in to fill the spot of the women's coordinator. And again, looking into, you know, what are the needs, and as we've made some changes, and is the just, golly, you've walked with us even into a worldwide pandemic, something none of us have ever gone through, and we're looking around, kind of all shell shocked, and to add to our shell shock, you're leaving us. And we're going to miss you. And so maybe you can tell me, you know, you came here a couple years ago to the Gospel Rescue Mission and thinking about, you're thinking, I know that this job can use a person like me, and I feel like I can bring something of value to this job. Tell me some things that you discovered about the job that maybe along the way that maybe you didn't even, you know, were surprising, you know,
that's
anything
a good
like that?
question. I think initially coming in, I remember my first day and walking into Fixo Family Center for the first time and being really nervous about what I was walking into and who was I going to meet. And what I came to discover was that the homeless women and children at Fixo really are no different than me in a similar circumstance. They have become, over time, my family. We are somewhat of a sisterhood. Their situations are heartbreaking, and yet there's hope.
Yeah.
There's hope. And I had the privilege of walking with them towards hope.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I've often, it was one of the first things that I noticed here when I first came to the mission, working as a men's coordinator, realizing that, man, you know what, it would only take a couple of really bad sets of circumstances or bad choices for me to be right here.
Right.
and then I started just looking at, all the men that I knew, and realizing I didn't think that any single man that I know, and I know policemen, attorneys, city councilmen, doctors. I know professional people in the community at the highest levels, and I could see any one of them, a couple of bad decisions
Easily.
and it wouldn't take that much, and especially if you'd been a little irresponsible, up toward that bad decision, you could find yourself here pretty easy, huh?
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Yeah. The idea that they're all drug addicts and alcoholics, and there are their fair share of drug addicts and alcoholics that come in here and everything, but that certainly doesn't sum up all of them, does it?
No, it oversimplifies it greatly.
Yeah. I think that I was talking with another guy, one of the pastors here recently, about what's the solution to homelessness, and it seems like every time you try and answer that question, the question itself is the problem. It's this oversimplification of the problem. And what I found is that you have to take the time to get to know each individual person when you're coming through, as you're working with them.
Our program offers that opportunity too, to get to know each person and their quirks and what makes them tick, and to see where more of the problem lies. It's too easy to say, well, they're drug addicts, or it's so much deeper than that, and many of them have not done drugs at all.
Yeah.
And so, no, I wouldn't say that homelessness is caused by drug usage or just alone.
Yeah.
Just alone.
Yeah.
Certainly, we have cases of where it's a factor.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's yes, getting to know the women, to know where they're coming from, and then we devise a plan to get them where they need to go.
Yeah.
To have that shelter, that stability, and build a new life.
Yeah. Yeah, and yet it's more than just the shelter that does that. I mean, and this is where you're such a key component in all of that. Your position and what you've done here is so important, because it really takes a person walking with them intimately, day by day, visiting with them regularly, checking in on them regularly. Right. I talk to social workers in other areas of social services here in Grants Pass and in Josephine and Jackson County both, and they'll tell me about their caseload, so the caseloads of their staff and stuff, and oftentimes what that really boils down to is they've got a 1 or 2 hour visit once a month, maybe once a week on a really active, somebody who's really active caseload. You're working with these ladies, all of them, pretty much 5 days a week, and
Right.
then you're still, they text you, they call you at
Yes,
home.
They do. Yes, they do. And that's, like I said, they become family, they become sisters.
Yeah.
And we're all aunties, and there's a real sense of family in that, there's constant communication, and it's good. It's good in a way. It can be overwhelming and terribly unhealthy in another way,
Yeah.
to not have that boundary between work and home. But, I see them. I know their comings and goings. I know of their plans.
Yeah.
And I have that kind of knowledge because I am guiding them to better habits. From waking up in the morning and getting to work on time, to learning good work ethic, even job skills. I show moms better ideas on parenting. The list really, it just goes on and on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's so important, and it's such a critical role, and that's one of the things that, I mean, finding the right person for the coordinator role here is just so challenging, and finding somebody that's got the kind of stamina that it takes to do that. You know, sometimes we'll get criticized by the breakdown between the patient client barrier, kind of thing, and all this, and I go, you know what, I will do things for a friend that I would never do for my doctor. I will do things for my friend that I will never do for my attorney. And those people, my friends can speak truth into my life that nobody else can. Nobody else has the permission to get there, and stuff. And so that's why I don't really encourage this strong, distancing concept. Instead, we go, I will move mountains for people that I love, and I trust that people who come in here, when they come to know and have a relationship with you, and they come in and you do the same,
right.
You work more effectively for them, they work more effectively for you.
A full commitment to the program is really key. It makes a difference. If you're not committed to the program, you're not gonna make it.
That's right. Yeah. It's challenging, and you've been doing all of this entire time while trying to raise 2 kids of your own.
Sure.
And you're doing a great job. I know that raising kids, is just a challenge no matter what to any parent.
Right.
But trying to do all of that and then connect with a job that can be as taxing as a coordinator position, that's a real challenge. And so I just really appreciate your efforts here. They've been amazing. Maybe I was thinking of maybe a best day and a worst day at the mission of like days that you came in and you're like, oh gosh, I wish I would have just not got out of bed today. And then maybe a day where you're like, oh yeah, that's why I get up and come to work every day. Can you think of maybe one of the two?
Brian, there's not been a day where I was sorry that I got out of bed.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic job. It's fulfilling. I'm very satisfied. There have been hard moments.
I mean, you're not. Look,
I'm telling you the truth.
You're not even on payroll. You don't have to say that anymore. This is a volunteer
I'm not blowing
thing.
smoke here. I'm telling you. I hope I find a job like this on the East Coast. I really do.
Cool.
I'm going to be looking.
Yeah.
Maybe we can franchise this out, huh?
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
30-day program. Yeah.
You never know.
It's
never
fabulous.
know.
It's really a great
Crazier
program.
things have happened in this world.
Best days, I remember the day we got a mom and her 2 kids. We had found, and I say we, no. She found housing. She got herself, pulled herself up. What we do is we provide the stability and the structure for people to succeed.
Yeah.
And when they do, it is amazing.
Really is.
It makes everything, it makes all the hard moments worth it.
Yep.
The times where you have to have really difficult conversations with a family, with a mom who's maybe used drugs, and you're having to discharge her out of the house, and knowing that you have to discharge her and her 2 kids have to go with her.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. Those are the worst days.
Yeah.
That's the part of the job I truly hated, and yet to maintain the integrity of the program, you must.
Yeah.
You must. But the days where people succeeded were over the top, super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. My favorite parts. I think, can I name names?
Sure.
Just list
first names. Yeah.
First names. I remember Crystal.
Yeah.
And her daughters.
For sure.
And that was amazing.
In fact, we did a podcast with Crystal.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and go through our past podcasts, boy, Crystal was a rock star, and that was really good.
And I remember Kathy Jo.
Kathy Joe, another great. Oh man, she was a great success.
Great example.
Yeah.
A leader.
Yeah.
And still is.
Yep.
A leader in the community.
Yep.
Just fantastic.
Yeah.
I have seen successes, and I have seen, let's call them not successes.
Yeah.
Potential successes.
Not yet.
It's not time yet.
Yeah.
But I pray these women work through their issues, and here is their best opportunity.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented. This opportunity to write your life.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Right.
Course correction right here. You have
right.
all the opportunity you need. That's, it's funny because when we started the conversation about just kind of how easy it would be to find yourself here and how much you see yourself in some of these people and everything, it's been, 10 years ago when I came to the mission, that was really kind of as I was thinking through, how would I guide these guys? How can I do this? I just really came at it from the approach of what would I do? What would be my next step? What would be my next step to finding my way free out of this thing? Because the truth is look, I've walked that path more than once of hey, things weren't working and I've found myself into kind of a financial crisis. I've made some bad choices or whatever, and I'm either homeless or right on the edge of homeless and or just young and needed to find how to grow up, and everything. And figuring out what's the next right step. Mm-hmm. And realizing that it is a process. And if you can put them in the right order, do them in the right order, they work. And they work every time. They really work every time. It really, at some point, it's not, there's no flaw in the steps. The question is just how committed are you in walking them, and how committed are you to making that change. So, well, it's been cool, just working together and watching the successes in the Women's House, seeing a lot of, I agree with, all those girls, in our recent podcast with Ruby, mm-hmm. and, I'm looking forward to seeing her on her journey, and we just get to see them over and over again, and that's so exciting. And I know we're going to have a lot more. If I always try and imagine, I'm somebody who's listening to this podcast, maybe for the first time. This is their first time, checking into what's the mission all about, and they're considering coming. You and I will see as we're paying attention to people trying to contact us either in email or Facebook or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, I'm homeless and I need to figure out how to get in," and da 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 da.
Right.
And we always kind of tell them, hey, just go, and knock on the door and apply. You have to have that interview in person. But somebody's fearful and they're not sure. They're afraid of, being rejected. They're afraid of what you might ask them to do. They want to come with a list of, okay, here's what I need to do,
Yes.
and everything. What kinds of things would you encourage that person to? They're about ready to talk to you, and they're wanting to come in for the first time. Do you have any words of encouragement for somebody that would be? What do you normally say to somebody?
I've had these situations,
yeah.
And I've encouraged people to come in and talk to me. Of course, now I'm not going to be there, but the next women's coordinator that you hire is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I encourage them to come seek out answers.
Yeah.
I would never put anyone under an obligation to stay. I love our program.
Yep.
I believe in our program. I'm proud of it. And
Yep.
I've given many tours. It's really, fear of the unknown is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of what holds people up is because they don't know what's behind that great big door.
Yeah.
And showing them removes a lot of the fear of what's to come. And that's where I see the most successes is come and see, come and tour, come and talk to the coordinator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we have good answers, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
at what we do offer, what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is cool. You know, you try and do it in video, and you try and do it in podcasts, and you try and do it, you know, in 100 different ways to say, hey, this is what our program's like. This is what our program's about. But there's still just that element of fear that says, I'm not sure if I can do that, or that's different than what I'm used to, and so, you know, I don't know if I can survive without whatever, you know, blank, and we just, you know, come on in, give it a shot. You know, you might find out you're gonna be okay. You know,
that's right.
Yeah,
I could not have imagined what was behind the door before I worked here.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Was it a room full of cots? Was it, you know, how much privacy was one afforded?
Yeah.
Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
And it's very nice, and it's clean, and it is unlike any other shelter I've ever heard of.
How many cases of COVID-19 have you had over
Zero.
there? Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I just saw a thing that is like on the Boston. One of the Boston homeless shelters had something like 88% of the residents or something of their homeless shelters all tested positive for COVID-19. Same one, there's one in San Diego, so it's like a real high percentage. All of them, all the homeless in there tested positive for COVID-19. We don't have a single one. We don't right now. I don't even think we've got a common cold going on in our buildings. I mean,
we're very healthy.
Yeah. Our hygiene, our indoor housekeeping protocols and cleaning is just really excellent. And that's, you know, it's like even the residents themselves, even though they benefit from it, they fight against it still sometimes. I mean, we're still constantly trying to keep them from bringing food up into their dorms, and trying to keep them, you know, we have to remind them, don't come in through the back door, come in around front, and, you know, wash your hands when you come in, and they grumble about it and everything. But you know what? Not a one of them sick.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's a little... It can be compared to raising children.
Yeah.
You can tell them, you need to make your bed, you need to wash your hands. Oh, Mom.
Yeah.
You're going to hear the grumbling.
Yeah.
I think it's human nature.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Amy, it's been a great 2 years. You've added a lot to our program, and you're going to be terribly missed.
Yes, I'll miss you guys too.
And you know, I will be. But now we know about Zoom, so now we can have lots of like video conferences, and we can include you into them.
Throw me in on the next coordinator meeting.
There you go. And you know, we really appreciate your time here. I know that you have impacted and forever changed a lot of lives.
Yeah.
That's stuff that when we stand before our King in heaven, you and I will be standing there before him someday, and we'll get to say, this is what I did with my time. This is what I did with my energy. This is what I did with my efforts. And he's going to go, yeah, I know, they told me. You know, they told me all about it, and I was watching, and it is good. And we're going to also say, you know, I couldn't have done any of it without you, Lord. You know, I mean, he gets all the glory.
That's right.
You know, and so it's just such a cool thing. What a joy to be a part of such a cool program that has just benefited so many people, and to be remembered for our point in time here in these things. You know, God is not done with you and you know, your family and all of that. He's certainly not done with the lives of the ladies that are in our mission now, and so we're just excited to continue to see what God is doing and going to continue to do in your life as much as it is here. And I want to really thank you for your service, and this has been very, very cool. So really, with that all said, you know, the Gospel Rescue Mission, the only way that we can do what we do is because we have people that donate to us and support us, through our website and through our Facebook page and through responding to our newsletters and things. If you're not getting our newsletter, please request, send us your name and address and through our contacts page on our website. It's www.grantspassmission.org. You can donate directly through that same website. Just go to /donate, grantspassmission.org/donate. It'll take you right to us. Your support means that we can bring in quality people and quality staff and things like that to make a lasting difference in the lives of people who are broken, and they're people. They're your family members. They're my family members. They're people that we know. They're your neighbors. They may be you someday, and we want to be here and give our absolute best. And so I just want to say a big shout out of thank you to all those that do support us, and would ask if you haven't considered supporting us, even if you could do $5 a month. If I had 100 people that pitched in a recurring gift of $5 a month, that's $500 that I've got every month coming in that I could have never have had any other way, and that's $6,000 a year. That's a lot of meals that we can do. That's a lot of things that we can put together for a lot of people. We can take that and make it go a long ways. So thank you, anybody who's listening, for just your time that you put in. And if you have any other interest in the Gospel Rescue Mission, again, grantspassmission.org, check us out. If this is something that has struck a chord in your heart, would you take the time to share this information? Share the podcast with a friend. You can text it to them. You can share it on Facebook or Instagram or any of the social media stuff. You can email that link to it to somebody. We would love to that's how we get our message out every day. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us, and we just pray that God would bless you as we close out another podcast of the Gospel Rescue Mission.